It's Matt Need from Unfiltered and Unaffected. We're down while we move the studios, but that doesn't mean that we're out. I'm visiting with my new friend Eric Stone, who is part of the Make Music Denver Festival. He is leading the mass appeal for guitars. Welcome, Eric.
Thanks for having me, Matt. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm happy. Yeah, we're in your house.
Pleasure to be virtually in your house.
Thank you. We're living everywhere at this point. Now, the mass appeal, the guitar mass appeal, for people who don't know, Make Music Denver happens on June 21st. And it's going to be all up and down the 16th Street Mall. We basically turn the whole mall into one big stage. Now, the mass appeals are gatherings. It's all the guitar players, all the mandolin players, all the uke players, all the horn players. Everybody plays in their group, right?
Yes.
Now, you led this last year.
Yes, I did.
How'd that go?
It went awesome. And they liked it enough that they invited me back for a second year, which is great. And really what happens is during the mass appeal, people come, all ability levels, and whatever their background is, and I teach really easy, basic beginner songs to people so that we can all play these songs together.
So you wind up with a massive group of all these guitar players playing the same song.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter. You're saying it doesn't matter if you played out before. It doesn't matter if you just found a guitar on the street.
No, it doesn't matter at all. And there's easy. It's all geared towards beginners, and it's all geared towards songs that are accessible. So there's Beatles songs, Bob Dylan songs, just stuff that is easy for people to pick up and play if they have some experience, and even if they have no experience.
You're basically bar chording stuff and strumming
not
along,
even,
whatever you want to do.
It's like really, I think I choose songs with no bar chords. It's open chords. There were some people last year who were absolute beginners, and they knew one chord and they couldn't really strum. So I'd say, all right, you get to, when we get back to the beginning of the verse, there's an E minor there. Just play that E minor for 4 beats. Just get ready. And whatever level people are at, I'm able to figure out where they are and how to get them involved, so that they're able to participate and make music as part of this group.
That's really cool. The Make Music Denver Festival is a celebration of music, and there's no judging. Nobody's going to go down there and go, "You didn't do that right. Start again." It's a big, just play some music and put it out in the air, right?
Absolutely, and it's really, that's what's so exciting about it, is that there's so many adults and even youngsters, and really anybody I teach who's above the age of 8 or 9, they are in such a headspace about where they are. The 8-year-olds, they have problems with their finger strength. It doesn't sound good, but they don't care. It's a guitar. It's awesome, and they're able to fight through weeks or months of it not sounding good. But as people get older, it's harder for them to accept that.
We're incredibly self-judgmental.
Oh yeah, and they think, my neighbor down the street is really good at this. I should be this good, and it's hard for people to accept that it's okay where they are, and to continue on that journey, and not to be beating themselves up over not being better. So what I really enjoy about doing this is that it's able to meet people exactly where they are, find a way for everybody to participate and have fun, and see that making music as part of a group, or even just making music so you enjoy it on your own, it isn't some impossible dream. A lot of people think like, oh, there's only those talented people that
you don't have to be Eric Clapton to play. You don't have to go out and enjoy music and dig what's happening.
No.
You can be at any level, and you can build from wherever you are.
Absolutely. And the more that you do that, and the more that people are encouraged to do this, through events like Make Music Denver, the better it is for music just in general, because it's the kind of thing where you want everybody to participate and feel good about whatever level they at. It's not a competition, and it shouldn't be a thing where there's just a handful of people that can do it and everybody else is on the sidelines. It should be a kind of thing where everyone is participating, everyone's part of the group and making music, no matter where they are.
And that's what Make Music Denver is all about. It's June 21st. It's all up and down the 16th Street Mall. You can go to makemusicdenver.com and find out more information. But at this point, you don't have to register for the mass appeal. No. You can just show up with an instrument, right?
Just show up. And my group is going to be 3 to 4 p.m. at Skyline Park. I'm not 100% sure where that is, but if you got
Skyline Park is basically it's the clock tower.
Okay.
The clock tower downtown right off of 16th Street Mall. If you head toward the clock tower, you'll find Eric down there. What's your background? How'd you start teaching the guitar?
It's kind of a roundabout way to end up doing it. So I didn't start playing until I was 17, and to kind of piggyback on the point before, since I was 12, I'm from Philadelphia originally, and I went to this overnight camp in the mountains in Pennsylvania. And I'd see these people play guitar, summer after summer. And, when I was like 14 or 15, I was like, really, man, I'd love to be able to do it. And somehow I talked myself into back then, since I didn't start when I was, 10, 11, or 12,
right.
It was already too late for me.
Oh, wow, so your moment's already passed.
Yeah, because I see these kids, they started at 11, they were already awesome at 14 or 15, and I was like, man, that's not something that I can do.
Damn.
And then as I got old, continued going there, I got into Led Zeppelin, I got into Metallica, and by the time I was 17, I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to do it.
I got to do this.
Yeah. So I ended up, it was obviously late for me to go to college for music, and I ended up studying economics, which is a whole other story of itself. And then I actually went to school, got a master's in education. So I'm a former teacher, taught for a little bit, then worked in an office for most of my 20s. And then, as I got older, my musical taste kind of changed and evolved, and I was like, this office thing really isn't for me.
Well, that's cool.
And I ended up going back to school to a professional music school in LA, and stayed out there for a couple years. Then, LA's LA.
Right
and
on.
My now fiance, and I moved out to the Denver area about a year and a half ago. So I've always, had the teaching thing. I always enjoyed teaching. I've been teaching full time, I guess, for 3 or 4 years now, and it was, but I've been teaching kind of here and there for over a decade at this point. So it's awesome.
How old is there any point where you go, I'm sorry, sir, you're just not going to get it? I'm 51.
Absolutely not.
Is it time? Can I start?
Yes.
It's not too late for me?
No, that's a big misnomer, actually.
Yeah.
And there's a great book by an educator named John Holt, who passed away in the mid-'80s, but it's called Never Too Late, or It's Never Too Late. But when he was 40, he decided to play the cello. And, no musical experience, nothing. And the book chronicles his journey over, a decade and a half, becoming I think he got to the point of being a semi-professional. And he goes over the challenges that adults face, and it really tries to disprove the thing that, once you get to a certain age, you just can't do it anymore.
You're done. Why would you start playing guitar so near the end of your career, Matt?
Yeah, well, it could be a huge source of joy.
Right.
Maybe you won't be Clapton, maybe you won't be Steve Vai, Pat Metheny, but that doesn't mean that it can't be, it's a source of just endless joy and inspiration for people's lives.
So you start teaching guitar, and I'm looking at, because there's always things to me, I teach improv, and there's a thing to me where I can't teach you to be funny, whatever, but the cool thing for me is to be there in terms of being nearby when it hits that person. Like when you see that plateau, that quantum leap that they've been battling. When was the first time in terms of teaching for you? There's got to be, first of all, the balls to go, yeah, I can show you how to do this.
Yeah.
is one thing. But second of all, to be there when it happens. When did that go for you?
As a teacher?
As a teacher.
It was definitely over when I was living in LA. It kind of evolved to the point where it's just like, instead of just imitating what my previous teachers had done, where I kind of came into my own style and meshed really well with what they're doing, with the stuff that I've studied on my own, and kind of created just a really effective and dynamic way for people to be able to get to play, basically. There's theory, there's, I know the scales, know the theory, but to me it's all about how to get people to make music and how to get people to be successful as guitar players.
It's a cheesy thing to say, but it's basically opening up your soul. It's saying, here I am.
Yeah, and it's, getting people to be comfortable and vulnerable in front of me, and then be able to work through their limitations. Most of the limitations are self-imposed. I'll have people come in here and we have to spend, 45 minutes. But you may laugh, but
it's therapy. I'm laughing because it's therapy. Ultimately it is.
And there's times where guitars is kind of like the secondary thing, where I hope they don't watch it. People who are talking about right now aren't watching this, but there's people who are very, very good musicians who are just just terrified of taking that next
first step.
or the next step to,
right.
to reach that plateau. And I just did a recital at the D-Note in Old Town, Nevada, and it went great. But I had a bunch of students who were experienced, but they just wouldn't play, and they're just kind of just afraid of, you know, getting out there and doing it in public. I'm like, well, you know, this is the environment that you want to do it in.
Right,
Try
it's
to
a
get them
safe
out of
place
their-
to do it.
Get out of their headspace, and you know, hopefully the next one I do, they'll be able to do it. But it's tough for people, and they get in, you know, they get in their mind that it's hard. Or, you know, when you start to think that something's hard, it makes it hard.
As soon as you put it in your head, it's there.
Yeah.
Well, how do people find you if they want to take guitar lessons from Eric Stone?
EricStoneGuitar.com.
EricStoneGuitar.com. EricStoneGuitar.com. Did you get that? Write it down. All right. So the Mass Appeal at Make Music Denver. It's the Guitar Mass Appeal. It happens from 3 to 4 at Skyline Park on June 21st. Eric Stone's your leader,
Yes.
and we are happy to have you on board. This is your second
cool.
year.
Yeah, the second of hopefully many years leading this. And it's a great opportunity to get people to come together and play.
Check it out at MakeMusicDenver.com. Eric, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Matt.